Hello, this is Miss Pat from Samuel's Public Library. This week in Science Scouts, we're going to talk about lifting an ice cube out of a cup or a bowl, not using our hands. I'm just going to use a string, right? So can you guys go ice fishing? Just a string, pick up some ice cubes? We're going to find out how. Our story this week is called Hooked by Tom Greenwald. Right? That little boy's going fishing. Joe loved fishing, even though nothing much happened. He could wait. He would look at the water. He would look at the sky. He would wait some more. And he would dream about catching the big one. You guys ever gone fishing? Joe's dad thought fishing was boring. I like more action, he said, and I don't like worms. He just didn't get it. So Joe joined the town fishing club. They fished in streams, ponds, rivers, and brooks. One time they even fished in a puddle. As Joe grew to love fishing even more, he asked his dad to give it a chance. You should try it, Joe said. No, thank you, Dad answered. Then one winter day, the leader of Joe's fishing club announced that they were going ice fishing on a frozen lake. Everyone cheered. On this trip, each child must be accompanied by a parent or guardian, the club leader said. Uh-oh, thought Joe. That night at dinner, Joe asked his dad if he would take him ice fishing. His dad thought for a moment. I'll go on one condition, he said. What's that, Joe asked. His dad smiled, that I never have to do it again. The next Saturday, they woke up very early and drove to the lake. It was bright and beautiful and 12 degrees. Joe smiled at his dad. His dad tried to smile back. See how they're putting holes in the lake? And that's where they're going to go fishing. First, they carved a round hole in the ice. Then they dropped in their lines. Nothing much happened. They waited. They looked at the ice. They looked at the sky. They waited some more. Then Joe and his dad started to talk. They talked about everything: baseball, movies, music, food, school, animals, and a bunch of other stuff. They told jokes. They drank hot chocolate, but they didn't catch anything. When the sun began to go down, they stopped talking. Joe's dad started shivering, and Joe started worrying. He worried that maybe it wasn't a good idea to bring his dad fishing after all. He worried that his dad might hate fishing now more than ever. Then, just before it was time to go, Joe felt a tug on his line. He jumped up. I got a bite, Joe yelled. Joe's dad tried to jump up too, but he slipped and fell. The fish pulled back hard. It felt big and strong. Finally, after one last tug, Joe reeled it in. At first, Joe couldn't tell what kind of fish it was. Then he realized it wasn't a fish at all. It was something large, soggy, and pink. It was a stuffed elephant. Everyone started laughing. Joe's ears burned with embarrassment. He started to throw the elephant back in the lake. Don't, said his dad. But it's a stupid stuffed elephant, Joe said. His dad looked at him. You caught her, he said, and we're keeping her. On the way home, Joe and his dad talked about the freezing cold and drinking hot chocolate and getting a tug on the line and Joe's dad falling on his fanny and Joe catching a stuffed elephant. They laughed the whole way. When they got home, Joe's dad put the elephant in the washer and dryer. It came out warm and fluffy. She's adorable, Joe's dad said. Let's name her Ella. A few weeks later, when it was time for Joe's first fishing trip of the spring, his dad knocked on the door. Can I come with you? He asked. Joe and his dad caught only one fish that day, a little striper that they threw back. But that didn't matter. They talked and laughed and had a great time. The next time Joe went fishing, his dad went with him again. And he went the time after that, and the time after that. It turned out Joe's dad loved fishing almost as much as Joe did. You could say he was hooked. And that's how Joe caught the big one. Okay. If you guys come into the library, we're going to give you a kit. And it's going to have a cup and two types of string. Doesn't really matter what kind of string you use, right? So this is a really thin one, and we'll give you a piece of yarn as well. And we're going to tell you to pour some water in. Obviously, we're not going to give you the water. We'll tell you to pour some water in the cup. And put an ice cube into the cup. And I can't give you the ice either, because obviously it will freeze. Right, but I got a couple of ice cubes here. All right, so there's the ice. It's floating around the top. And you're going to notice that if we put the string in, and I'm just going to put it in like that, I can't pick the ice cube up. Okay, I can't even get it around the ice cube. Remember, I can't put my fingers in. I can't even get it under the ice cube to try and pick it up. So let's find out why. Okay, because we know people go ice fishing. We also know we do other things. We've had a lot of snow lately. So what have we been putting down? Because our snow froze. Right, so what have we been putting down that would help us maybe pick up this ice cube, right? We've been putting down things like salt. So these guys here are going ice fishing. All right, they dig a little hole in a very frozen lake. Don't ever do this on a pond or a lake that you don't know how deep it is. Okay, but they dug a little tiny hole and they're putting their fish thing in there to see what fish, because it's not, the whole lake isn't frozen all the way down to the ground, all the way down to the bottom. There's still water under there. There's still fish moving around down there. It's just frozen up on top. All right, but we put salt down every time it snows or ices, right? Salt lowers the temperature. So ice melts when it gets more than 32 degrees, right? When it's 32 degrees and lower, like 29 degrees, 28 degrees, the water will melt. The water will freeze. Okay, so ice melts and water freezes around 32. But if you add salt to it, then the ice is going to melt at a lower temperature. So instead of the ice melting at 33 degrees, it might melt at 25 degrees because the salt will melt it. This is what water molecules look like. Okay, they're in a very strong pattern with nice little bonds between them. When you put salt on it, they break all those bonds. And now look at it. It's all kind of slippery, right? So this is ice with salt, whereas this is ice with no salt, very, very rigid, very hard. This is going to be more fluid. They can kind of move around because the red salt pieces, red salt molecules, broke all those bonds. So now everything's moving. We're going to try and pick up, and look at that. He didn't even get it around the ice cube. We're going to try and pick up an ice cube using just the string. right? And this tells you how. It tells you can put out 2 cups of water. I'm only going to put out 1 with an ice cube in each. Lay the string on top. Wait a minute. Remember, we talked about the science method. Okay, predict what will happen when you try and pick up the ice cubes. I think if I put string on top of the ice cube, it's not going to pick up, right? It's not going to pick up. So make a prediction and then find out what does happen. Reset the strings on the ice cube, and in one of the cups, pour a little salt on the ice cube and the string. Wait a minute or 2. Okay. Usually I tell you to count to like 10, 15. Not really fast. I don't want to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? 1, 2, 3. Make another prediction. Science method. What happens then when you pick up the string? Okay. The ice on the around the string. Remember, you're putting salt on the string on top of the ice cube. It's going to melt the ice that's all around the string. And then the string is going to refreeze the water, because remember, it's going to melt it. It's going to turn it into water. It's going to refreeze, and it's going to refreeze over your string. So it's going to be able to pick up the ice, because now the string is frozen to the ice cube. If you don't use any salt, the water and the ice are all the same temperature, and the string will not stick to the ice. It won't freeze there. Okay, but you have to melt the water, or I'm sorry, melt the ice so that the string will get under it, and then it will refreeze. And here's a challenge for you. How many ice cubes can you pick up? Here's a hint. Don't put it in a cup. You can't fit a lot of ice cubes in here. Remember, the ice has to be floating at the top of the water. I can fill this whole thing up with ice, but I can't get my string down here, and I can't get my salt down here. So it's not going to stick. Okay, so what we'll do for that one, if you notice the picture here, they have a bowl. Okay, so we're going to try that one. Here's a bowl. And a lot of ice cubes in here. Kind of all stuck together on top, right? But I got a lot of ice cubes there because I want to see how many I can pick up. And I'm going to pour water in. You do not have to hold it. I'm just trying to show you what I'm doing. Okay. Now I have a couple of them. And I can stick these on top, and this one's sticking up, but it's not going to pick up the ice. It doesn't matter how many I lay them on, right? It's not going to pick up the ice. And I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it's still not picking up any. But now I'm going to lay it across a couple of them. I'm going to take some salt, and you don't need a really big salt thing like this. Okay, you can take a little salt shaker off your table, but make sure you pour this on the string and on the ice cube where the string is. Okay, I'm not pouring it on these ones over here because there's no string there. Okay, so putting it over here wouldn't help. Putting it on these ones that the string's not on. And then I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now, that time I only got 1. I think I took too long. Okay, but see, it froze the ice cube. And then if I shake it, it'll fall off. So now we're going to try and put it on this big one that's over here. And I'm going to pour it on top of the string. And I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's see if I get any of them. Well, I guess I didn't take long enough. So sometimes I might have to count longer, especially because they weigh so much. Right, and it might go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to try this one over here too. I got to get it to lay on the, if it's not on top of the ice cube, it won't catch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nope, still not going to catch on that one. Up, almost. Ooh, that one had more than I thought. I thought I only did 3 and there was 5 of them there. All right, so we'll put them on these easy ones again. All right, so try to see how many you can get. I have it laying on 3. I didn't put it on this one because this one is completely under the water, which means I can't get the salt. The salt is just going to go in the water and it's not going to stick to the string. Okay, it's just going to dissolve in the water. So since I can't get my string under on top of that ice cube, it's not going to go there. Okay. Ooh, and I think I have just too much salt on this one. Oh yeah, that's definitely, yeah. I had this thing covered in it. Let's try that one. This one's not used as much. After a while, you kind of got to wash off your string because you kind of have too much salt on it, and then it's not really melting the ice near it. Okay. So occasionally you have to wash it off. Sometimes you might have to change out the water because you got too much salt water in there, so it's not really working. But you can try this over and over. Right, and you can watch. Whoa, and I got a whole bunch of them that time. Okay. Whoa, and that time it fell down. Sorry about that. All right, so have fun ice fishing. You won't catch any pink fuzzy elephants this way. Maybe if you put them in water and it was frozen, I don't know, but I don't think the string is going to stick to your stuffed animal. So please don't put those in the water. You will need salt. Okay, doesn't have to be the big salt. It could be the little salt shakers and ice cubes in water. Okay, and you can try it in a cup and you can try it in, which is what we'll give you, and you can try it in a big bowl. Okay, and you can, problem with the cup, like I said, I can only get 2 of them at a time in here. And because I can only get 2, that's all I'm going to be able to pick up. So if you want to try and get up a whole bunch of them, you kind of got to put them in a wide bowl. Okay, and then you're going to use the salt to melt it. Just like we use salt on our sidewalks and our stairs and our driveway sometimes whenever it snows. Because we have to lower the temperature so that stuff can't refreeze. All right. Hope you guys learned something. Enjoy this. And I will see you guys next week. Next week is February 1st, and we will be meeting in person. So register online. All right.